Hey folks, welcome back. I'm going to bring you along with installing the cylinder head on this Hyundai Accent. It's a 2007, it's a 1.6 liter, and this is going to involve, obviously involve, we've got a new cylinder head here, so this is going to involve timing the two camshafts together, as well as the timing belt to the crane, timing this head to the rest of the engine. So that's what I'm going to bring you along with. I'm not an expert on these types of cars, but we're going to be following the service manual and doing what they say there. This is pretty much how this one came, minus, we had to transfer over like this oil valve or whatever the heck this is some kind of a sensor here. All of these studs transferred over, temperature sender there. But what we're going to have to do is remove these camshafts, because this one's, to get a proper, you can get down in there with like a Allen wrench that's got the little wobble at the end of it, but it's not really going to give you the best. I wouldn't trust doing it that way. That's how I removed it, the old one, but that's not how we're gonna do it this way. But this camshaft right here has got to come off anyways to be able to get the timing, the chain in here. And then obviously this one's going to have to come off to be able to get this, I think this is like a cam phaser or something like that, get that in here. So these will have to come off anyways. These are all marked, exhaust 4, 3, 2, and 1, so that when you put this back together, see, then you got I, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that way this one should be able to stay on. Should be able to just lift this cam out of here. And then yeah, so we're gonna go on with that. We're gonna get both of these removed off of here, and then we'll get this cylinder head torqued according to the service manual. It's got a kind of a somewhat of a unique way to do it, so we'll go through that. Okay, so this is, I didn't film any of the removal of all this. There's actually videos on taking this stuff apart. A lot of people remove the intake completely. I was able to just leave it in place there. Even with the fuel line all hooked up, this does move enough. You can get the timing belt and all that stuff on there with all of your engine mount. I didn't mess with any of that. There's a bolt that goes right in here that mounts onto the head. So there's 2 bolts here, but you'll have to take this one upper one out. The exhaust manifold's pretty easy to take off and get out of the way. So we did that. The only thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be haven't removed this water pump yet, but it's pretty easy. There's just a few bolts here. Just remember that you got different lengths here when you get that off there. When we're removing that water pump, probably going to do that first before I put the head on or anything like that, just because it's easier access to do it. Hey, here's a thing I printed out for the cylinder head, the order that they need to be torqued at. So there's 10 cylinder head bolts. These are the old ones. You don't want to be reusing the old ones, but this is what they look like. It's going to have a what is that, a 5mm, no, 8mm, excuse me. And then it's going to have these washers that go on there. So, but we're not reusing those. We've got a new set, but this is the torque sequence, or not, the order basically. And we'll go through. I'll show you on the service manual what they want done. Okay, this is the part right here. Place the cylinder head on it, install all the bolts. I'm talking about putting a light coat of engine oil on the threads. And I mean, when they say light, that's what they mean. You don't want to be dunking this thing in oil, and then as you drop the bolt down in there, you get a little bit of oil in there, because that could hydro lock, and you could get a false torque. and because the oil doesn't compress. And so you want to, when I say light, that's definitely what they mean on that. And so this is what they want as far as the sequence goes. You know, we're going to be using foot-pounds. We got 21.7. So I'm basically going to set it to 22. So we're going to torque them all at 22 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees. So basically we're going to go through this sequence right here. It doesn't specify that, you know, as far as like, you know, you don't want to just tighten this number 1 to 22 and then go the 90 degrees. That's not how you do it. It doesn't specify that, but pretty much when you do cylinder heads, it's if they give you those two deals like that, you're going to torque number 1 at 22 foot-pounds, 2 at 22 foot-pounds, 3 all the way to 10 in that order, and then you're going to go an additional 90 degrees. So then you're going to start with number 1 90 degrees, 2 90 degrees, 3 90 degrees, all the way to 10. Okay, then it says release all bolts, so it's wanting you to loosen them all up, and then go back here again, and you know, if you're using Newton meters or whatever the heck that is, we're using foot-pounds. So then you go back and you do them all again at 22 foot-pounds, and then you go back and you do all of them again at 90 degrees. Kind of interesting, but that's what it says to do. So that's, you know, basically what we're going to be doing. We're going to go 22 foot-pounds number 1, 2 all the way to 10. Then we're going to go 90 degrees, 1, 2 all the way to 10, and then we're going to loosen them all up, and then we're going to go again 22 foot-pounds, 1, 2 all the way to 10, and then we're going to do 90 degrees, 1, 2 all the way to 10. It does not specify as when releasing all the bolts as to what order to do it in. Does not say that at all, so I just assume I'm just going to be doing it in the reverse order, so that when we do the first sequence, we're going to go down here, we're going to go 22 foot-pounds, 22 foot-pounds, 22 foot-pounds, all the way to 10. Then we're going to go 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, all the way to 10. And then actually I'm going to let it, you know, like sit, I don't know, maybe half hour while I do some other stuff or whatever around there. It doesn't really, you know, matter, but it's just let it kind of sit. Not that it's going to really do anything, it's just going to make me feel better. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to loosen 10, 9, 8, 7 all the way back to 1, and then we're going to go back again and we're going to go 22 foot-pounds, 22 foot-pounds, 22 foot-pounds all the way to 10, and then we're going to go 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees all the way to 10. That's what we're going to do. That's pretty much how this how it says. It does not give any more information on that. As to, you know, it would be nice if it said release all bolts, like, you know, in opposite order or something, or gives you a certain order to do it, but it does not. So we're just going to go ahead and do it the opposite way. It is interesting. I've done a number of cylinder heads on, you know, larger diesel engines and stuff like that, and sometimes they don't have this tightening and loosening, but I think I do recall on a Subaru, I do recall something like that, but that's been in like 5 or 6 years since I did that one. So anyways, that's the sequence we're going to be using for that. So we're going to go ahead and get that water pump off, and then we'll replace the water pump, and then we'll start with installing this head. And you know, that's pretty much, so basically how this works is, you know, when you're in this deal, this is basically all of your instructions on how to install everything. So if you scroll down even farther, you'll get to where we're talking about the timing and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, like when you click on this, and I might, oh, it's gonna want me to log in, but it would have came up to this picture right here. Yeah, I let this sit too long, and I'd have to re-log in. Kind of a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. So we'll keep on going. Okay, so there's where the water pump was. You know, this is a new tensioner, or you know, for the timing belt. You can leave it in place, just take the bolt out right here and just kind of let this thing go down. I had it ready to install, but we decided, you know, we definitely should do this water pump while we're this far into it, even though you can replace it, but it's like, well, let's just do it now. Basically, you've got 3 bolts of this size here, these 2 bolts that hold this bracket on top of your alternator for the tensioner for the alternator, but you got those 3 shorter bolts, one here, here. This is exactly how it goes, so this is the bottom, and then the other 2 bolts go in those spots. Not too bad. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull out both of these cams and lay them all out, you know, everything out here, these caps and everything. I did mention this before about these are all the exhaust, these are all the intake. This is how this goes into the engine. You know, this will be the driver's side. So keep in mind, I don't think I mentioned this, but this has an L on it, and this one has the R on it for left and right. You can't really mix it up because you can see how these bolts are like this, and then these ones are a little bit staggered, so you can't really mix them up. But you don't want to mix any of these up. They need to go in the exact same order that they came off of. So we're gonna get all that, lay it all out, and then we'll start planning as soon as the water pump shows up. We'll get that mounted, and then we'll mount the cylinder head, and we'll keep on going. Okay, got this all out, laid out. Do take this off. Yeah, I thought that maybe this might just come out of there, but no, you'll need the clearance to do that. Just get it off there. These are nice because they got these little dowels in here, but you will have some, depending on the position of the camshaft, you have some pressure on some of the valves. I didn't find like a torque sequence or anything like that in the service manual as of yet. Hopefully I'll dig around and find something yet, but probably not going to have a loosening sequence. But pretty much just start with the outside and just barely do each one and just kind of back and forth, you know, like if you start with this one here, you can go ahead and loosen this just a tiny bit, loosen this one just a tiny bit, go over here and go doot doot, you know, and then go back over here to this side, you know, and just keep going back and forth, and just a little bit at a time. That way you don't risk snapping or breaking anything or doing stuff like that. So we are going to be ready to install this cylinder head on there as soon as that water pump gets here and gets on, and then we will torque the head down, and then we will go about putting the camshafts back on, along with our tensioner for the chain, you know, and then we'll be putting our cam phaser, putting it back on, plus our timing belt gear that goes up in the front there. We'll be installing that, and then you know, getting this thing properly timed. Keep on going. Okay, so we still haven't gotten the water pump quite yet, but I'm going to go ahead and install this deal on here. So I'm going to stick this chain over the top here like this. I don't know if that really matters. It's just when we get this on here, I'm going to want this chain, you know, to be able to slip over these gears, because what we're going to end up doing in the sequence of being able to install this is we're going to put this camshaft in first, because it's the one that we know where the timing marks, like this timing mark right here, that's going to line up, you know, through the top, and it's going to line up because this is your front cap right here. So this is going to go like this, and so this circle right here is going to line up, you know, as this, well, it's going to be on like that, but that's going to be lined up like that, so we know the position that this camshaft needs to be in. And then as, you know, we start assembling and getting the chain on here, that way we can get this camshaft as close to possible as to, you know, where it needs to go, because that's going to be sort of important. Well, it is going to be fairly important, because we got the engine timed down here. Come down here to the crankshaft here, and we got a timing mark right there, and you want to line it up with that nub right there. See if I can get a better shot of that. Okay, right there. So you want that timing mark lined up there. What we don't want to have happen is you don't want your camshafts being out of time or anything like that when you go to torque them down, because they're going to start opening some of the valves. I think it's unavoidable at this point, and what you don't want to have happen is you start torquing the camshaft down, and if it's wrong, then you could have one of these valves open, or any one of these two valves open. These two cylinders aren't going to matter because they're clear down here, but these two cylinders being up like this, or pistons, you don't want to start shoving that valve down in to the piston, because you're going to, you know, you could be bending valves just that way as you're torquing the camshafts down. So what we want to do is we're going to be starting with this camshaft, and I'll go through this as we do it. Put this camshaft on there because we know the timing that this camshaft needs to go in relative to how the engine is timed right now, and then we time this camshaft to this one, if that makes any sense. So start with this one. That's how we're going to do it, and that's just basically me thinking common sense on this whole thing right here. Is we know where this camshaft needs to get timed at, and then we know that this camshaft has to be timed for this one. So we're going to start with this one first. So anyways, yeah, we'll get that. We're still waiting for that water pump, and then we'll get that done, and then we'll start putting this thing on. Okay, so we got our new water pump on. We're going to now set this head down on the top of this engine block. Okay, so we got the cylinder head in place. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is drop bolts down into each of these holes here, remembering their washer. Remember that thin coating of oil on the threads, and then they also said on the you know, the head, but just a drop. I'm going to use something like this oil can thing, similar to what the Tin Man had on Wizard of Oz. Just, you know, just do a light drop or whatever on the threads, and then on top of the head in between the washer there, and then we'll torque these down to 22 foot-pounds, and then we'll do the 90 degrees. We'll loosen them all up, reverse order, torque them back down to 22 foot-pounds again, and then do the 90 degrees again. Then we should be good to go. Okay, so we got our first torque done. You see we put a paint marker on every one of these, so you know it's not the most accurate way to do the 90 degrees, but you can get it really dang close. So got that done. So now we're going to go ahead and loosen them up backwards of the order after we let this kind of sit, I don't know, about 15 minutes or so. Not that I don't know if that does anything. It's just kind of makes me feel better. So yeah, we'll get these loosened up, and then we're going to go ahead and torque the 22, every one of them in this order, and then do the 90 degrees in this order, and then we should be good to go. Okay, so now with the head torqued on, and we got this pulley on here, and then we got our phaser on here. These are all just started right now, so you want to be real careful with these, getting them in. I don't know if I had also mentioned, you know, obviously there's an arrow pointing. You want to make sure all those are all the same and oriented the same direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, like I said, I didn't find a torque sequence on these. We're going to start with the middle, and we're just going to barely work it all the way down and work all the way out, and go ahead and get this deal to torque down. Now you remember that we've got, like I said, you know, having these camshafts in the right position, we're close here. We're not right on because it's wanting to start pushing these valves down right here. So that's what you're going to have to be careful of. But you remember, this is the second cylinder in. That cylinder's all the way down to the bottom, so we don't have to worry about those valves. Are going to open up a little bit, and that's fine. The ones we need to worry about are obviously these ones, which you can see these cam lobes are clear up here, so those aren't going to open. And then we got these ones right here, which are faced right about there. And when we rotate the camshaft in a clockwise direction, you see that they're coming up. So when we torque this down, those aren't going to try to open up any valves or anything like that. So as we're kind of turning this, or as we're torquing this down, I'm going to kind of try to turn this a little bit just to, you know, avoid any issues there. But anyways, and then we got the chain on here. You know, you got your black links. You got one here, and I think there's another one right there. Okay, so we got this camshaft all torqued down and lined up. You can see we got our, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it on camera or not. Our timing mark lined up in that hole there. I really don't know if I'm gonna be able to, there, kind of, sort of, right there. So then we've got our chain ready to go here. So we got the black link, you know, want that tooth right in the middle there, because you can see we got a mark, you know, we got this timing mark right here and that one there. And then we've got the other black link that's gonna be right here. And so, you know, this is all ready to go. So I'm just gonna fold that over. You can kind of move the chain around once you get it in place. Don't get it offset, or else you won't be able to get it back on the teeth there once you get the cam torqued down. But just get this folded back out of the way. Just one thing to take note of, like I said, we were talking about see how these I don't know if they're called lifters, or wouldn't really be a lifter, but back in the day when they were push rod engines, they were always called lifters. But these bucket deals or whatever, you can see how these are popped up because that's a valve, you know, fully closed or whatnot. But you can see this, how they're flush now, because these particular ones in this cylinder are being starting to be pushed open, and that's normal. That's what you're going to have, and that's fine because that's the second cylinder that's all the way down. It's any of these right here that you don't want to have open or whatever. So or you don't want to have, you don't want to have any of these valves open. Obviously these aren't, these are close, but they rotate this direction anyhow. So by the time these lobes get around, this piston's going to be down. So yeah, so now we're going to get our other camshaft and get it set down in place and get this chain, you know, hooked around, because we're going to need to get the chain, you know, in position as close as we can before we get it set all the way down into place. So okay, so we got this camshaft in here and torqued with our chain on here. You notice we got the black link right there. If you lift this up a little bit, see that timing mark right there? I just went and painted it yellow on the tooth right there. That way we've got the black link there, and then we got the black link right there. And then next thing we'll do is we get our tensioner put in here, and then we got this other cap to put on the top of there. But it's really not that difficult to do. So far we'll keep going. Okay, so we got our chain tensioner in here. Don't worry about the slack right now, because when you crank this thing over, this will, you know, it's a hydraulic tensioner. It'll fill with oil and it'll do the proper tension. What you just want to make sure of is that you have your timing marks lined up, and you know, we can't really see that one now, but it is. So because you want the tooth that's by the mark to be in the middle of where this black chain link is. And so That means you've got this timed correctly. And when we get the timing belt on there, we're going to roll this thing over by hand should do at least 2. I'll probably go 4 times, and then check and make sure all these marks are all the same, and then we can go on to putting the rest of this thing together. So. Okay, now we've got our timing belt all installed. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is rotate this thing by hand. I'm going to rotate it 4 times around. You want to do at least 2 because it's rotating it just once on a 4-stroke engine, you're not getting everything, but you want to do at least 2 times. But I'm going to go ahead and do it 4 times. You can see before we start, we got our timing mark there lined up with that nub for the crankshaft. And then up here, we've got the timing mark lined up in the, it's really hard to get down in there and film it, but there's that. See that little green deal there? Then we come over here, and none of this is going to have changed because we haven't rotated this around yet, but we got our black link all marked with that timing mark. Underneath of here, we've got we got our black link rotated there. So we're going to go ahead and probably going to get this cap put on first before I rotate it. Not that's a big deal, I don't think, because this is holding it, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it on there and rotate it 2 times around and verify our timing. Okay, we rotated this thing around 4 times. I just sat here and I just watched this deal just roll 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we verified that, and I got down here and I stopped this timing mark first because obviously I was down here with the wrench. Stopped this timing mark here. This one is right where it, oh my goodness, it's hard to get my camera down in here to see this. Okay, right there. That lined up. This timing mark also lines up with another part of the valve cover, I believe, if I recall correctly. But then we come across here, and we still got, I drew this line here just in line with this timing mark here, but you can see that tooth still in there. Should have drew one over here with this one, but that tooth there in the black link, and as you can see, our chain is now tighter even just by doing that. So that's all good and everything, and that's pretty much how you install the cylinder head. So our timing belt is on tight, everything's good, it's completely in timed. All we need to do now is just reassemble everything, and this thing should be good to go. But hopefully this helps you out a little bit as far as especially this timing here, because I didn't see a lot of info on that, and even the service manual wasn't the greatest info about all that stuff. But hopefully this helps you out with being able to time each of these camshafts. Just start with this camshaft first, get it timed, torqued, and then go with this camshaft and get it torqued. As you're putting the chain on, you'll have to, obviously have to do that. And then, get your timing belt, get it timed and everything like that. Start with your engine, obviously, at where it needs to be timed, and you should be good to go. So hopefully this helps you out a little bit. And anyways, thanks for watching.